Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be reviewing Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is the 7th film in the franchise. There's a lot of films in this franchise, somehow. So, this was the comeback. We hadn't had a Star Wars movie since 2005 with Revenge of the Sith, which the prequel trilogy was not received the most well, but you know, everyone loves a bit of Star Wars. So, yeah, it's been 10 years. By that 2015, and then we got The Force Awakens that year, and obviously I watched it in preparation for the review, as I do with everything, and I had a really fun time with it. So much hope for this trilogy, and then we got The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, they fly now! They fly now! They fly now!
There will be spoilers in this video. So generally, I did have fun watching this film. I guess it wasn't great as a whole though. This may be a bit of a controversial opinion, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how everyone feels about this movie. I know how everyone feels about the later two, but yeah. But I think there's still a bit of a divide here, because it's basically the exact same format as A New Hope, and this film does it enough differently to make me be able to enjoy it separately from A New Hope, and not constantly drawing comparisons, but it's very apparent that they are very similar. In particular, the way the story is told and the kind of story it's telling, it is incredibly similar, which is a bit of a shame. It was a bit of a rush. The film was also incredibly let down by the following two films. Now, I'm going to say it because I have to say it, and I'm trying not to care about giving out my opinion, and just seeing it as my opinion, but the internet scares me, okay? You know, and basically, I love The Last Jedi. It's my favourite film after the original trilogy.
Hell is filled with people like you.
That's just my opinion. One day I'll talk about it more in depth. That's not for this video, okay? Just leave it. This is The Force Awakens. But despite me liking The Last Jedi, it's still let down The Force Awakens in some aspects, and The Rise of Skywalker even more so, I feel, because the Force Awakens suffers because it's set up storylines. The main one being Anakin's lightsaber, and it's just not answered at all, you know. And that little I don't even remember her name, because she's only in this film for a few minutes, or I mean, I think she might be in Rise of Skywalker at some point. I don't remember. I don't want to remember that film. Please don't make me. I have reviewed it on this channel. I don't really remember what I said, but I hate it. I hate it with a passion. It is one of my least favourite films I've ever seen. But she literally said in this film, "A good question for another time." It is now 2021, and I still do not know the answer. If it's in a book somewhere, I don't know. I don't read it. You know, I haven't even watched The Mandalorian. So, yeah. But as a result of the following two films not keeping up with the storylines, how they were set up, this film suffers because they don't go anywhere. As soon as we get into the film as well, there's just so much forced Marvel, Disney comedy, and on the whole in this film the comedy's balanced pretty well. There are a good few jokes that I enjoy and give a light to the film that we need, but the first bit with Poe and Kylo, where they're having their little chat, it's meant to be intense, but he's just like, "Oh, who talks first? I talk first," and it just takes the fear out of Kylo. I mean, you know, Kylo is the best character out of the whole new trilogy, and he's incredibly intimidating throughout the most of this film, but that scene takes the main bit of tension that he had in that scene away for me. It really depletes his presence, and it's a shame, because it's the start of the film. We just saw him stop a shot from a blaster, and just his clothing, everything about him screams, "Oh no, this is bad news." And then Poe's is joking in front of him, and it's just, I can still enjoy the scene, but it's not what I want. That being said though, like I said, Kylo is great in this film, and he's the one thing throughout all three of these films I think continue to be great. He's the best character in the new trilogy, as I said, and he's really compelling even in this first film. In this first film he's mostly on the dark side, and there is still a part of him that's torn despite being mostly on the dark side, and Han brings that out in him. And speaking of Han, great in this film, great to see him again. Harrison Ford does a great job, as he does in pretty much every role he's in, and Han's just funny. I think Han was about the character to bridge the originals to this new one, and I think that scene where Han dies is gut-wrenching. It is one of the saddest scenes I've ever seen. you know, and I didn't remember. I went to cinema to watch this film, but obviously I was quite a bit younger. I didn't expect to feel the way I did watching The Force Awakens over, and let's get to that scene. I wasn't expecting it. It's just so perfectly timed, acted, and everything. It's so well done. All performances are good as well, most notably for me, Daisy Ridley. I don't really need to speak about Harrison Ford. And I really like Rey in this film as a character as well. I think she was set up really well. The Force Order are basically the Empire, but they do feel like they have evolved, which I think is a goal, and they did it very successfully. J.J. Abrams did. Because with the use of Starkiller Base, they feel like a new threat. With Ren and with Snoke in this film, they feel like such a threat throughout the entire film, and that is perfect. That's what you need, you know, the followers of the Empire. That's it. This is perfect, pretty much. You know, they are intimidating. They feel like a threat to all the characters. You know, they're just constantly there, pressuring everything in the film. Then there are lots of little scenes throughout the film that I could mention, like the final battle is mostly pretty great. There's an issue where just 1 minute Rey has her back to a massive crack in the ground, the next minute that crack's gone, they've changed position, but similar to the thing I mentioned in Doctor Who's The Christmas Invasion, but it doesn't really take me out of it as much as it does in that Doctor Who episode, because the visuals are so generally great with the snow, the lightsabers, and the camera angles and everything. And as I said, I am a fan of how they bridge the originals with this new series, and the relationship that Han builds with Rey in particular, like an early kind of mental thing, is something that's really compelling to me. Relationships as a whole are a key to making this film, and giving it the rating that I will give it at the end, because that keeps me invested. The characters are what keep me invested. The characters are a big light of the film. I love Rey and Finn's relationship, I love Rey and Han's, I love Han and Leia's, and they're all just great, and they actually invest me in these characters. There are other flaws, but they're kind of more minor ones, such as like when Rey's climbing around the base. I don't know how she isn't seen, and like when she's climbing on the walls and stuff, because you know, you can say it's the Force, but she doesn't know how to use it yet. You know, she's only done that one thing before, and yeah, she pulls the lightsaber, but still, I don't get that. If that's what people say, I don't know. Also, it makes no sense how she can fly the Falcon so well. Like, she said she doesn't know, and that's not really a great excuse. You know, you need to... You know, that sequence, it's a really enjoyable scene, that first ship scene, but it makes no sense. But generally, I don't think The Force Awakens is too good, in complete honesty. It's not bad by any means, but for me, it's just a fun film. The fact it feels like Disney are trying so hard to put it in that Marvel mold that has worked so well for Marvel is very apparent, and that really takes away from it for me. You know, I know it's Disney, but Marvel, Star Wars, you know, they can have similarities, of course, but don't force it as much as it felt for me in this film. And as well as the other flaws I mentioned throughout the video. But there are many good things as well, and something I didn't mention was the pacing. I was never really bored in this film. Something was always happening. It slowed down a bit in the middle, but it wasn't too much of an issue. It didn't really take me out of it. But yeah, the good pacing, the good characters, and the fun sequences makes this film pretty fun, despite all the other flaws. And while I think The Last Jedi was miles better, if J.J. Abrams directed it, I think I probably would have enjoyed this film more, because it would have been a straight line of events throughout the trilogy. But we got what we got, and even though I love The Last Jedi, it's left Force Awakens in the state I feel like it is now. So, with that said, I give The Force Awakens a 6 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was just my opinion, as always, all of these videos, just my opinion. And yeah, I can't really put it any other way. I enjoyed The Force Awakens. I think it's fun, but it's just I have too many problems with it, really, and it's like I say, it's just fun to me. I've watched it a few times, and I just enjoy it. It's just a simple film. I want a bit more out of films for me, but yeah, the Han's death and the new characters being set up quite well are definite light spots that make me enjoy the film a lot more, which are the reason that make me give it a score above 10, because that really carry it over the line to me giving it a positive score. But as I said, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of The Force Awakens in the comments below, and please don't hate me for my Last Jedi comments. I will get to that at a later date, and I dread that day. But thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.